down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
You tuned in to the Savvy what? Radio Show. Oh, shucks. Man, I'm telling you, I dig into holes like ant holes to find the people that you need to learn from, that you need to grow from. And I just spent a few minutes with this next guest, and living your dream takes holes to dig, and where it leads you, you'll never know. But I'm super stoked to introduce Garrison Kingery. Kingery, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's from Natural Solutions Plus. It's a pesticide company. You make the chemical?
We make the product. We order different ingredients from all over the world and manufacture the product with those ingredients.
And so how did I get this guy? So anyway, I'm hanging out with a baller realtor, and you, as a realtor and as a real estate investor, you come across bed bugs. And, you know, it's a big topic. It's been a big topic for the last 3 years. A lot of investors kind of hide from it. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know the legal actions to take. I've seen people been sued. A good friend of mine, Brad Grayson in Indiana. We've had multiple conversations years ago about bed bugs. And so when I was introduced to Garrison, I was like, dude, I got to get you on the radio show. I have some folks out there that are investors, and they need to know what you do and how you do it. And the cool thing is you're about to meet Garrison is that he loves real estate, and that's kind of how you got into bugs. Yeah. So how did that happen? Like, you don't just wake up and, hey, I'm going to get dirty and kill bugs all day.
Well, actually, yes, I was going to real estate school, and during that we had actually bought a fridge into a rental property we were actually fixing up, and my wife made me buy it used. And so when we got it in there, we started noticing some baby roaches. So we went to a place and to buy some stuff, and at that place, you know, the lady had kind of walked us through what she did, what she sold, and it kind of sparked an interest in me. And so I started doing some research myself and looking into it, and that's when I realized that, hey, we could do this and do this a lot better than a lot of people can or do. And that's when we kind of started diving into it, you know, formulating, trying different things to find the best stuff and we could use.
Do you have a chemistry background? Or
I do not.
Are you just a hustler?
Yeah, and essentially, yes. Everybody comes in my store and asks me, hey, are you a chemist? No. The thing is that all of our ingredients are non-toxic, so they can be put in as much as we want. We can use as much as we want, and it's still non-toxic.
So you have a store, you said?
Yeah, we have 3 retail stores.
In Oklahoma?
We have 2 in Oklahoma City and then 1 in Wichita, Kansas, and we're getting ready to open 2 more, Tulsa and Dallas, in the next 6 months.
So what are they? They're just like a retail outlet that you can come in and buy chemicals?
Yeah, it's a storefront. Well, so we sell, as of now, we sell, I believe, 10 different products, our main one being the bed bug. And yeah, you just come in and we'll have staff, me, my wife, somebody there who's going to go through all the details of what you need to do, what you need, stuff like that. And then you purchase it and we send you on your way. And it's a do-it-yourself, but it's crazy effective. You'd be shocked at how effective it is.
So the main thrust of this store is to combat bed bugs, or just bugs in general?
Bed bugs, because most bugs are pretty easy to kill. You can go to Walmart and get some cheap stuff, for the common pest. When it comes to bed bugs, you can't go to the Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot and get common stuff because it's not designed to kill. Those products are not designed to kill. Even though they'll say bed bug killer on them, they're not designed to kill. What they're designed to do is to deter. They're designed to give people relief for $10 to $40. And so, when you spray a can of Raid for bed bugs, you'll notice the bugs are gone, but you're not finding any dead. And then about a week to 2 weeks later, boom, they're right back. And you think, oh, that stuff worked. We got to get more. And people get in this vicious cycle of doing that 3 or 4 times. And they gradually work their way up the product list, more expensive, until they find one that works. The problem is there's not a lot of products that work.
So you're an entrepreneur. How old are you?
25.
I mean, you look so young, and it's like you got stores everywhere. Yeah. Fascinating. So why bed bugs per se? Like, why not like termites, which is in every home in the state of Oklahoma?
Because bed bugs are a nuisance. What I noticed when I started looking into it is that bed bugs are all over the country, just like termites are. But the problem is bed bugs are harder to treat, and bed bugs plague low-income households for the most part. And so when you look at the market and you see how people are being taken advantage of on a large scale, from the stuff for $8 all the way up to a heat treatment that's $2,500 to $3,000, they're being taken advantage of. And so when you look at that, that's what made me say, hey, we can do it better, we can do it cheaper, and we can help these people who are desperate, who are being taken advantage of at every turn.
No, I've heard this thing called the heat treatment. What is a heat treatment? Is that what's the reasoning behind that versus like a solvent?
Well, so heat treatment, bed bugs die at about 140 degrees, will kill them. So what they do is they come in and seal up the home, and they'll heat the home up to, an extreme temperature for an extended period of time, and it typically eradicates the bugs. But there's some major flaws in heat treatment. We identified flaws through research that were causing the low success numbers in heat treatments and exterminations and stuff like that. And we made sure our product had none of those flaws in it.
So you actually created this whole product yourself?
Yes. Now I want to be clear, there are other products out there that are non-toxic products.
Sure.
But ours is not in the same, ours isn't even in the same class, only because when we do research, what you find when you're researching all this other stuff out there is you find they don't really care about the science. They don't follow the science very well. They typically stray away and they follow the money more than they follow the science, which means they usually leave stuff out, important stuff, because it saves them money. And so what we did was we followed the science and didn't care how much money it cost us to make the stuff. And we said, hey, we'll figure it out after the fact how to trim down and save money later, but we want to make sure we have the best stuff out there. So yeah.
So give us a scope of your, what's the cost of this? Is this not so right now, if I have bed bugs, a tenant calls me, hey, Mr. Property Manager, I have bed bugs. I'm like, girl, how'd you get those in there?
Yeah.
What would be a typical cost, and how do I apply this? Is this like a spray, or is it liquid?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So it's a liquid, and the first thing, if you come to me and you say, hey, I have a tenant who has bed bugs, the first thing I'm going to ask you, is it an apartment or is it a home? Because that's going to make a difference, because everything we recommend is by square footage, right? Because you need to have the proper amount to treat, or else it's not going to work. And we're very clear about that, and we're very strict on that rule. I won't sell. If you come in and say you want something for a couch, I won't sell it to you. I'll tell you to go to Walmart if you can't afford it, just because I'm not going to take your money for something I know it's not going to work. But if you come in and let's say it's an apartment, right? And you're the property manager or property owner, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the lowdown. It's a spray. It's non-toxic. It can be sprayed on everything, from the baseboards all the way in through carpet, wood, tile, clothes, couch, carpet, bed. I mean, everything can be sprayed. And that's a main function of why it works so well, because it can be sprayed everywhere. And you treat the first day and seventh day, but it's a very simple process. The thing with an apartment, though, is that you need to treat the units around it. Bed bugs are so small and so slippery that they can get out the smallest area that's left untreated. And so what you do is you go in and you would treat the infested apartment. You'd also treat the apartments around the infested apartment to make sure you contain them fully. And because a lot of people, before they call you, they're going to go to Walmart and try to take care of it themselves. That's a problem. Like I said, those products are only made to deter. Well, in an apartment setting, when they spray that, they literally force them to their neighbors. And that's why apartments are so hard to treat for bed bugs, because they'll only treat the infested apartment and not the ones around it. And that's where they mess up.
I noticed that with roaches in general, I see, really bad houses next door, roaches get into the next door neighbor's house because it's like an infestation. Yeah. So what is the cost for this? And does it come in gallons?
Yeah.
And do you have to have a special sprayer?
No. So we provide you everything you need. We provide you the product, spray bottle, and instructions. And so for an apartment, if you're treating a single apartment, we have a 1/2 gallon apartment treatment. which is for under 750 square foot. Anything over 750 square foot, we recommend a gallon because, like I said, you're going to do 2 treatments, first day, 7th day. But yeah, we provide you everything you need. Comes in half gallon, gallon. That's the only 2 sizes we sell. If you need more than that, we'll recommend a gallon and a half or 2 gallons. But we don't sell anything under that because we don't sell for 1 room, 1 couch.
Because you can't do it.
It won't work. It'll give you relief, but you're not containing them and killing them. You're just deterring them. And that's not what we want to do. The product is designed to deter or to detain and kill. And a lot of the other products out there aren't made to do that.
So how much does it cost?
So a half gallon's $89.99 and a gallon's $130. And what those are is the 2 treatments, spray bottle, and instructions on how to do it.
Okay. Now, do you guys, what kind of application do you spray this on? Like a paint sprayer, or is it like a hand bottle?
It's a hand bottle, and everybody thinks, oh, it's going to take so much time. It really doesn't, because you don't have to go through and box stuff up. You don't have to go through and do anything crazy. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to start around the baseboards, and it's going to be on a straight stream setting, and you're going to go throughout the entire residence doing the perimeter, with a straight stream at the bottom of the baseboard. And what that's doing is that's creating that perimeter. And then what you do when you're done with that perimeter is you switch it back to a mist, and you start misting the floor. And you're going to do a sweeping motion, across the living room. And you're going to work your way towards the furniture, because it's likely they're going to be closer to that furniture because that's where the food source is. So you're going to work your way towards that furniture and contain the infested area. So you're containing and then you're killing. And our product works 2 ways. It kills on contact and it kills when they crawl through it. And so with you containing them, now they have 2 choices. They either stay in the place and get sprayed and die, or they crawl through it and ingest it and die. And so that's essentially what you do, and you do that room to room. But with the contain and kill method, it works so much better. And that's where a lot of other products lack, is they lack good instructions, first off. But the second thing is they don't contain and kill. They'll tell you to go in and spray the infested bed and don't do anything else. And all you're doing is spreading them, forcing them into better hiding spots.
Now, you mentioned that they're looking for food. What do they eat?
Humans, so us. I mean, they feed off, so they feed off.
Way to go.
So they feed off blood. I mean, so, a lot of places people find them typically, they're called bed bugs, but they can be anywhere. But they're typically close to the food source.
Which is a human.
Which is us.
They like the skin.
So couch, recliner, bed, nightstands next to the bed,
Like, where do they come from? Like, are they from another country? Like, what?
Yeah, so they came from the Middle East a long, long time ago. I think it was 1800s. They came from the Middle East. They spread to this continent in the 1800s. They didn't come to America until the 1800s, when Europeans came over and settled here and brought them with them. There was a lot of history where the ships that were bringing people over were massively infested, stuff like that. So really that's when they came to America and started infesting things, and it's been a nonstop problem ever since.
So then why is it such a big thing now?
Well, so in the 1940s, the government came in and sprayed a product called DDT, right? It was a heavy chemical. Later on, it was found out that it caused cancer, so they outlawed it, but it did really well killing bed bugs. So they went in and sprayed it everywhere, and they thought they eradicated them. But what they did was they didn't eradicate them. They just made them go dormant like all the other products do, but they became immune to it. And so they built up a huge tolerance, which makes them so much harder to treat today, and that's why it's such a big deal. But you look at ease of travel. Everybody travels easier, this and that, with technology, everything, it makes ease of travel, so easy that, they travel so much easier, they spread so much faster. And community awareness, you say you have bed bugs, but you're embarrassed.
Sure.
You don't want to say nothing. So, I invite you over, and you don't want to say nothing, so you just come over. Well, now I have them.
It's like a STD.
Well, now, yes, it's exactly correct. And that's why they spread so rampantly, because people are embarrassed and people don't want to acknowledge the problem or don't care.
I'm fascinated. How old are you? 26?
25.
25?
Yeah.
And, even when I interviewed you over the phone and just talked to you, you're very passionate. Where does that come from? I mean, are you not, like, obviously this is a successful product.
Yeah.
And is the main is bed bugs. Can you use this solvent on anything else?
Yeah, so our bed bug kills virtually any pest I've tested on, any roaches, fleas, flies, ants, ticks, spiders, scorpions. I mean, I've bought pests from all kinds of places to try it on, and it kills 100% of the time. There isn't very many out there. I found that it doesn't. All of them I've tested on, it's killed. It's just how long. But
meaning that they'll pass it on, like I guess termites are like that.
Yeah. Well, and so, but the thing with our bed bug is so I say it kills when you spray it on them, it kills when they crawl through it. The difference is when you're spraying it directly on them, they're getting a direct dose. They're getting a lot more. When they crawl through it, it takes a little bit longer. Like I've seen one live up to 4 hours after it's crawled through it, and it still dies. It's ingesting it in a lot smaller doses crawling through it, so it takes a little bit longer for it to die. But the thing is, there's things in our product that keep it from reproducing or feeding during that time period. So you're not going to have to worry about that one bug that's crawling around dying during that time period.
Now, how long have you developed this product?
It took 6 months. 6 months of research, testing.
And then when did you release it?
A year ago. We came out with it a year ago. We opened. We had a store in Yukon. We came out with the product there.
So you just have a random retail outlet. Hey, buy my bug spray.
Yeah,
for real. I mean, this just fascinates me.
Yeah, well, and so there's a little bit more backstory, with, like I said, people taking advantage of people. There was, I don't want to go too far into that because I'm not, I want to promote, how to help people with this problem. But there was some people in OKC that were taking advantage of people knowingly.
Because they didn't know.
They were making a similar product, and they weren't putting stuff in the product that was on the label. And they were selling it as if they were. And so that was part of me doing research and stuff like that, because they were committing fraud and taking advantage of people who were desperate for a solution. And so that's really what pushed me to get out there and do it a lot better.
Wow. All right. So your wife's all involved.
Yeah, she runs.
So this is your only job now. Do you do application on this stuff, or you just sell the chemical?
No, we just sell it, because the thing is, the way I look at it is, we know most of our customers are low income. If I go out and spray, I'm going to have to charge more money, and I don't want to do that. We made it easy enough for people to be able to spray themselves, so I'm not going to go out and charge for my time. I always tell people that come in the store, there's a big difference between us and an exterminator. When an exterminator comes to your home, you're paying for that man's time, not the chemicals he's spraying, because they're cheap.
Yes.
When you come to us and buy stuff from us, you're paying for what you're spraying and not our time. And that's a big difference to keep in mind.
I'm just fascinated that you know all this, just the business alchemy of life. People don't understand. There's a story where a plumber, lady was desperate, hired a plumber, couldn't fix this one problem. The guy drove over there, took a 5-minute fix, and sent her a $150 bill. She's like, it only took you 5 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
But it was 30 years of being a plumber to get to that level.
Yeah.
And so you're telling, I'm just still trying to get my mind around that you have a storefront in Yukon and Wichita soon and Oklahoma, and you're growing, and you're just selling this, you have that much volume.
Yeah.
To sustain a store?
Oh, yeah. We have massive volume. I mean, you would be shocked at how bad
bed bugs are.
Yeah. When we first started, people were telling me, oh, you'll never make money. And I was trying to explain to them, you don't understand how rampant this problem is. So I have Yukon, Oklahoma City. Those have been open for a year and 6 months, Wichita 3 months. Oklahoma City last year did $130,000 in sales by itself.
Cool.
This year with the 3 stores, we're looking at $300,000 in sales. And, I just started this a year ago. And so, but by the end of next year, we should be around $1.2 million in sales.
So why don't you license this or scale it up higher? Or sell the technology, or sell the patent, or the chemistry? So
the reason we don't do that is because, like I said, I'm pretty passionate about trying to help people.
So keep your costs down, per se?
Yeah, and you could keep the cost down for people. People are going to jack the prices up. If an exterminator costs $1,500 and it doesn't work, what are they going to do with something that does? And I don't want to do that, and I can grow this myself and make sure we can get it to people at a good rate that's going to help them not take food out of their kids' mouths. We're not here to be vultures. We're not trying to take advantage of anybody.
Do you sell the product to other exterminators?
No, we do not.
You just don't want to do that?
No, I don't want to do that because I've had exterminators come in, and I have an exterminator out in Yukon, J&H Pest Control, and they do a fantastic job. And, he came in and I considered it. But the thing is I don't want people jacking up the price. I know what it costs to make it.
Sure.
And I don't want people charging people $500 to go out and spray or do a job that they can do. I've even been to the point where I don't want to let other people spray. So I've been to a house before to spray for somebody who was unable, just because I'm not willing to let other people take advantage of people on my watch. I'm just not going to do it.
Interesting. So what's your vision, your goals? Where do you see this going?
I mean, I'm just going to continue building it. The problem's not going to go away anytime soon. So I'm going to, we have the 3 stores open now. I'm going to open Tulsa and Dallas within the next 6 months. And then once I have those 2 stores going, I actually have a manager already in place that's going to come in and start helping manage those. And we're going to open 2 more in Dallas. And then we're going to start hitting every major city across the United States to make sure that this product's readily available for anybody out there who has the problem. Because I firmly believe we have one of the only products in the country that's effective. I mean, I'm telling you, with the research I've done, it's shocking.
Sure. How does someone verify that? That they just, I mean, it's only an $89 risk.
Yeah. So, I mean, how someone verifies it, that's kind of a more difficult thing, because unless they're going to go in and read all the research and this and that.
No, I mean, I guess I just need to buy some and spray it.
Yeah, I've had people come in and say, well, how do I know? And I tell them, buy some and try it, and you'll see, that it works well. And most people call me back and apologize. Like yesterday, I had 3 people call me and say, thank God that we bought this.
Wow.
Because people buy junk stuff that's really cheap. So they get cautious when they're starting to talk about, $100, $130, $140. They start to get scared. Do I really want to waste money on something that's not going to work? But most of them call me back.
Well,
and
I want it to work,
dadgum.
I wouldn't have you on the radio show. I need to I need to go buy some, and I'm amazed, because I'm I would say a year ago the $1,500 number came up. There would be seminars on how to deal with bed bugs.
Yeah,
minimum was $750. Your average cost is about $1,200 to $1,500.
Yeah,
and then I met one friend, that the one in Indiana, where he had a legal case where, because the case hinged on it was the landlord's fault or the tenant's fault.
Yeah. And
how do you? Well, there's these traps that you can put in corners and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like green and
they don't work.
Well, what? But they did catch the bed bugs, right?
They do. So they'll
just to verify that they're.
Yeah.
Well, it was an insurance policy.
Yeah.
For the landlord, before the tenant got in there, he put the traps down. When they moved in, he removed the traps, so he knew that there was
nothing there.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a fantastic, and that's a good use for those traps. But for
solving the problem, I don't think so.
No, yeah, and that's where a lot of people get messed up. And for instance, exterminators, for instance, they use traps a lot, and they're just not effective for that type of use. Now, your friend sounds very brilliant, because to prove there was nothing there, fantastic, but putting them in for an infestation is it's a waste of time.
Well, as a landlord, I know you wanted to do a property management company and stuff.
Yeah,
we're constantly scrutinized. There's the new thing right now is a dog assisted. Now we're letting pit bulls into homes, which insurance does not cover a pit bull.
Yeah,
but it's my therapy dog, and I need it because I can't get through the day without my therapy dog. Well, bed bugs a year ago was the same thing. People were suing landlords on bed bugs, it's our fault that you're dirty.
Yeah.
And so that's where how all this came about.
Well, and so, the one thing is that it's very hard to prove. You can bring in blood sniffing dogs, right? That can usually pinpoint where they started and stuff like that. And that can kind of help you get a time frame of when they were there or when they got there.
Interesting.
But it's very hard to say. The thing is, though, is the landlord always needs to take precaution. And if he's ever notified by a tenant, he needs to do some research. Because what landlords typically do, and it always leads to, a bad tenant-landlord relationship, is the landlord goes out and tries everything everybody else tries first before he spends big money. and none of that stuff works. And so it's not that the landlord's not trying to get it taken care of. He's just trying to find the most economical way to do it. And so, the landlord just needs to do research beforehand. And it's really not, the thing about bed bugs is it's not anybody's fault. It's really not. And it's really not even, you would be shocked at how many bankers I've had come in who make $500,000 a year and have bed bugs, and they're just so embarrassed telling me they're not dirty. Really, it's not about being dirty. It's really by pure chance, by pure dumb luck that you get them, because like we went to a restaurant in Oklahoma City during March Madness, and we were sitting in it, and it wasn't, an upscale restaurant, but it wasn't, McDonald's. And so we were sitting there, and, just as we were getting ready to leave for dinner, a couple had came in and sat down, and what do you know, my wife points out to me that there's a bed bug on her shoulder, and then it crawls off her shoulder onto the booth. And so say my wife didn't see that, and my daughter was sitting directly behind the lady, and what it does is it attaches to the clothing. We take it home, toss it in the laundry basket, and that's how it starts. And you got to think, in your daily life, hundreds and hundreds of ways to contract bed bugs, to take them home, movie theater, hospital, office, office chairs, stuff like that. I mean, there's just so many ways that it's really no one's fault. And that's what people got to start understanding, is that they got to give their landlord the time to figure out what's going to work. With all the junk products out there, it's hard. And the landlord's got to let him know he's working on it, but it's really nobody's fault. I mean, really, you guys just have to work together as a team to figure out how we're going to do this and not invade someone's privacy, and make sure we're not living with bed bugs.
Sure. So if I get notified, I don't know what the law is off the top of my head, but so I would go to your store, get this chemical.
Yep.
Then the individual, I would apply it as a landlord because it's my property.
You or the tenant. Now, I typically recommend the landlord try to do it to make sure it gets sprayed properly. You never know who's going to be doing the spray job if you give it to the tenant. If you trust your tenant, absolutely. I mean, because you're going to do it the first and 7th day, so it'll be a lot easier for them to just do the treatment themselves.
Can they move back in 7 days?
They don't have to leave. So, and that's what I was getting ready to clarify is, it's not chemical based. It's all non-toxic. It's all non-toxic ingredients that are 100% safe, so they don't have to leave. It's hassle-free pest control is what I like to call it. The exterminator comes out, you got to box up clothes, you got to do all this prep work. That's not what you do with ours, because you're hindering it if you do any of that stuff. You're giving yourself greater risk for not getting the problem solved. And so with ours, you don't do none of that. You don't leave the home. You can spray your couch and set on it 2 minutes later, and it's not going to do a thing to you.
Okay.
So it's all about hassle-free, saving people money, and getting the treatment done correct.
Interesting. Well, okay. What final thoughts, and then let's go into where the stores are, and your website and phone number and all that jazz. Yeah. Just so we can let people know. Any final thoughts or any other things that I miss, or did we cover everything? Any other advice, tips?
No, I think you just
got to pre-spray.
Yeah, absolutely, because we have deterrent ingredients in there, so it also works as a deterrent. We advertise it to hotels that way. The one thing I would say is that, don't be embarrassed. And getting bed bugs is not embarrassing. Living with bed bugs is. And that's what I would say is the defining thing. And give people the time to work on it and do the research, because like in California where they don't have our product, it's going to take time to get it figured out and what's going to work. Why not California? Well, I mean, we can sell there, but we don't have stores there. So it's, unlikely someone's going to find our product unless they're doing research. And so it's going to take time for people to figure out a good solution to get it taken care of.
Cool. All right. So where's your what's the name of the company? It's Natural Solutions Plus. Is that what it says on the sign?
Yep. Natural Solutions Plus, America's choice for bed bug eliminator. We have a website. It's naturalsolutionsplus.com.
Okay.
You can order there. We have some research stuff on there. And then we have a location at 23rd and Villa, Northwest 23rd and Villa, and then 2 East Main Street in Yukon. And then we have one on 501 East Central Avenue in Wichita, Kansas.
I have a property on 3031 Northwest 23rd, not far from Villa.
Yeah.
Drexel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Garrison, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and learning a little bit more about bed bugs. And I'm going to go out there and buy this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it have a money-back guarantee?
It does not. And here's why we do that. Everybody asks that question, the chemist and the money-back guarantee. Here's the thing. A lot of companies out there give money back guarantees, and then they give you some strange rules like, hey, did you record you spraying it? That's one I've heard someone say.
That's terrible.
We don't do that. Look, our product is 100% effective, 100% non-toxic. There is possibilities that stuff can go wrong. We're dealing with bed bugs, but the product itself is 100% effective. But we will always 100% work with you to make sure we get it taken care of. I had a lady call me this morning. Products worked great, but they still had a little bit of an issue because they didn't spray a certain area. And I said, look, come back in. I'll give you a 10% discount. And that's not even my problem. It's not my problem. The product worked great. But we know people, we don't want to put people in binds.
Sure.
We don't want to take food out of their kids' mouth, stuff like that. We're willing to help you. We're not greedy. Yes, cool. We're for profit, but we're not going to, we're not vultures.
Sure. All right, Garrison, it's been a pleasure, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.